This is Southern Cross News with Joe Palmer.
Good evening, everyone. A heritage building destroyed by fire in a residential suburb last night is being investigated as a targeted arson attack. Emergency services say materials from inside the abandoned building were used as accelerants to fuel the ferocious blaze.
This is the remnants of what's left of the former primary school still smouldering from an arson attack yesterday. From this high vantage point, you can see the scale of destruction at the site right in the middle of Claremont.
Once the building is secure, I should imagine there'll be a demolition order issued for the owner to clean up the site.
Crews worked through the night to salvage the parts of the heritage-listed building that weren't completely ravaged by fire. Emergency services have determined the fire as suspicious.
Well, given the fact that there was no power to the building, at this stage it's looking though it could be a deliberately lit fire.
Investigations have been launched to find out who is responsible. Witnesses say the privately owned abandoned site is commonly used as a hangout for young people and squatters.
Speaking to members of the public, trying to obtain as much information as they possibly can.
The site has been the subject of a spate of recent arson and vandalism attacks, and police say materials from inside the building were used as accelerants to fuel the blaze.
No one likes to have this type of crime committed in their community in a residential area.
This local resident was on site early to survey the damage of the school he started at in 1951. He holds fond memories. His children and grandchildren also spent their early years of schooling there.
Yeah, it was very tragic, very sad. It's nearly like vandalising a war memorial in some ways.
Authorities warning against visiting the site due to asbestos. Louise Hedger, Southern Cross News.
A family has lost its home after refusing to pay the rates, telling the council to seek the outstanding payments from God. The Meander Valley Council auction saw the Mole Creek home sold for less than half its estimated value.
In just 5 minutes, it was all over.
$120,000 for the third and final time. The property will be sold. Property sold.
The council acknowledged the sale of the Mole Creek home over an outstanding rate payment debt of around $3,500 was unusual.
Not many mayors around Australia would have to face this, I wouldn't have thought, so we've certainly faced it before. I have to say, when the decision originally was made, I think some councillors were a bit challenged by it, as you could expect to sell somebody's home.
The mayor also admitting the anonymous phone bidder had secured the property for a steal, after the family repeatedly refused to make its rate payments on religious grounds.
If it would have gone for $300,000, I would have thought that would be reasonable, so someone's picked up a bargain today.
The process to get to today's auction had been long-winded, with the saga first starting 7 years ago.
You just can't go straight to a sale of a property. There is a 3-year period before you can start taking the actions.
Community members in attendance were sympathetic, but also understood the law is the law.
It's very sad that this has taken place, but we all have to pay our rates.
The settlement process will take a further 45 days, and concerns still remain as to how smoothly the handover will go. The family currently owns 2 adjoining properties and a business in Chudley. It's understood the family will continue to operate its Melita Honey Farm store after the council received an anonymous donation to cover any outstanding rate payments around 3 months ago.
I think Chudley wouldn't be the little town it is if we didn't have that there.
Members of the family declined to comment on camera today, but say they're confident God will show them the way forward. Jessie Gilmore, Southern Cross News.
Tasmania's peak motoring body has outlined a wish list for road infrastructure upgrades heading into the state election next year. Among the priorities is the revitalisation of the Bridgewater Bridge, with hopes of accelerating the overdue project.
Hoping to bridge the gap between the $600 million project and its funding, the state government's promise to upgrade the Bridgewater Bridge yet to see a cent of financial support. Tasmania's peak motoring body identifying it as an election priority.
So a verbal commitment is a positive step forward, but we're looking to see where that funding is going to come from and what the works will actually be.
The plan is to have construction start by 2019. The government says it's on track.
It's part of the plan and those discussions with the Commonwealth are ongoing, and you'll see further announcements about that in due course.
The RACT today outlining its election wish list, 18 focus areas in need of an upgrade, some described as urgent.
On the Bass Highway, we're looking at Christmas Hills. We're also looking at Wynyard intersections and also some upgrades from Wynyard to Smithton and beyond.
Both major parties are pledging support.
We know that there are communities who are struggling because their roads are in disrepair. So our Labor government will be very active in this space, identify key projects and get going.
We have invested significantly in infrastructure over the last few years. We have a target to increase that by 20% over the 4 years, the coming 4 years.
The Greens say it's one aspect of a much broader conversation.
Our climate change will impact on our transport and infrastructure, the need to move towards mass transit systems, public transport systems, pedestrian and bicycle infrastructure.
The state election is due in March. Jacqueline Robson, Southern Cross News.
Tasmanian Senator Jacqui Lambie has responded to allegations made by her former Chief of Staff. Rob Messenger is taking Senator Lambie to court, claiming he and his wife, also a former staffer, were unlawfully dismissed. Yesterday, a suppression order was lifted on his original statement of claim, revealing explosive allegations of workplace misconduct. Today, Senator Lambie responded, saying Mr Messenger's claims were motivated to humiliate. She says the process is taking its toll, and Mr Messenger's amended statement of claims shows he doesn't believe some of his own allegations. The case returns to Hobart's Federal Court in October. The man accused of shooting an 11-year-old girl in the face has reappeared in the Launceston Magistrates Court. 25-year-old Nathan Campbell was expected to enter a plea this afternoon, but his defence lawyer, Evan Hughes, told the court due to the condition of the alleged victim not yet being determined, it was too early to do so. Phoenix Newitt is receiving treatment in the Royal Children's Hospital in Melbourne after having surgery to remove bullet fragments from her face, neck and heart. Family and friends of the accused shouted, "Love you" and "Stay strong, brother," as he left the courtroom today. The matter has been adjourned with a plea to be entered on September the 7th. Authorities have a very important lesson for Tasmanian students over the next 2 weeks. A child safety program dubbed Tour de Tassie has been launched this morning. It aims to educate children about cyber safety and includes a presentation from the Daniel Morecambe Foundation.
Of course, teachers have an important role to play in educating our kids on how to keep safe, but the number one is a parent. A parent needs to be a parent. They need to be active and keep those communication channels open with their kids.
So these presentations allow them tools that give them tips of how to stay safe online and just basically to have that conversation with their children so that they are aware of some of the dangers.
The tour will stop at more than 20 schools. A man is tonight in a serious but stable condition after being taken to hospital following a single vehicle collision in Railton overnight. 3 people were in the Daewoo sedan when it rolled after attempting a right-hand bend just east of the town boundary. Tasmania Police attended the scene at around 11:30. The cause of the accident is still being investigated. A group of Tasmanian grandmothers are knitting out their frustration with the federal government's treatment of refugees. The Knitting Nanas staging a knit-in at the office of Liberal Senator Erica Betts today, a protest against the government's final departure visa, where asylum seekers brought to Australia for medical and humanitarian reasons will soon be sent offshore.
These people had done nothing wrong. They had come to us looking for help, and instead they'd been sent to these 2 terrible places, the detention camp on Manus and the detention camp on Nauru.
Senator Abetz wasn't at his office this afternoon, but says he's disappointed the activists impeded access for genuine constituents. A rising star in the TSL could be Tasmania's White Knight at the next AFL draft. In a few weeks' time, 18-year-old Jake Hinds will head to the league's draft combine in Melbourne after 3 clubs expressed interest in the talented midfielder.
Jake Hinds is a blue bagger to the core, a die-hard Carlton fan who wears the same dark navy for Launceston in the TSL. But breaking into any AFL side is the dream for this teenage talent.
Never missed a game from when I was like 6 to 12, just always watched every game, and yeah, just seeing all them guys go out and do it, just always been a dream of mine.
In early October, Hinds will make his case. The boy from Beauty Point faces 4 days of drills at the AFL Draft Combine.
I've always relied on my endurance running, so hopefully I can keep working on that and stand out a bit with that.
No Tasmanians made the cut in last year's draft, but Hinds has 3 seasons of top-level state football already under his belt, plus a close mentor in Sam Lonergan by his side.
Yeah, I've always grew up watching the local guys to see how they go about it, because obviously it's a similar kind of story.
As you'd expect from a Blues fan, Hinds looks up to former champions Chris Judd and Brendan Favola. He might match them one day, but his focus for now is playing his first TSL final against Glenorchy tomorrow.
2 Tasmanian divers have had a remarkable encounter, coming face to face with this enormous southern right whale off the coast of St Helens. Danny Lee and Quinton Schleiben were brought to their knees as the mother whale and her calf approached the pair in Skeleton Bay yesterday afternoon. Mr Lee says it's the pinnacle of his 20-year diving career.
We're just staring into the blue, and before we knew it, they were pretty well on top of us, and the female was the biggest thing I've ever seen in the water. It was probably close to 12 metres long, and the calf itself was probably 4 or more metres long too. So, yeah, two of the biggest things I've ever seen in the water.
Southern right whales had been spotted in the area over the past week. It's a typical migrating path for the endangered animal. Tasmanian men have swapped work shoes for high heels as part of a donation drive for White Ribbon, a charity working to stop domestic violence. The annual Walk a Mile in Her Shoes attracted around 100 participants in Launceston and Hobart.
Each year it seems to get more and more people, so it's always a good laugh, and it's obviously a great cause and a serious cause.
Although uncomfortable for some, everyone managed to keep their feet. And the best news, it raised $100,000 for the cause. Judges have just revealed the top award at the RACT Insurance Portraiture Prize. The competition is only open to artists under 30 years old, providing a platform for Tasmania's emerging talent.
A wild and whimsical painting catches the judge's eyes.
So I think all of us felt that technique was a big part of this.
This is the winning piece, titled Worm as a Chameleon. 23-year-old Laura Gillam created this as an honour for her friend.
We were all impressed by the quality of the painting. And it's also a work crammed with wit and cleverness.
It was selected from more than 103 entries, a record number for the event's 10th anniversary. The curator says over these years it's been a stepping stone for emerging artists.
I think it's vital for the Tasmanian community. We need to be nurturing our artists. You know, we can't just be delivering high-end art product. We need to be looking after the whole ecosystem.
It provides an opportunity for emerging artists to show their work, go through the process, the winner receiving $5,000 cash and also a trip to the Archibald, so to continue the artistic insight.
The youngest of the judges, 19-year-old Caleb Clifford, is last year's winner and knows its value.
When you're my age and you're just starting out in this sort of industry, I suppose, you're not really sure if you can really call yourself an artist.
This year there are 2 runners-up. This video from Dexter Rosengrave and a portrait of a younger man by Liam James.
If an artwork makes me feel jealous that I haven't made it, I know that I admire it very much.
Starting in Hobart, the touring exhibition will also go on show in Launceston and Devonport over the next 3 months. Michael Breen, Southern Cross News.
Now look at the day's business and finance news with thanks to Tasplan, your local super fund. The Australian share market has closed slightly higher today after strong gains yesterday, with heavyweight Commonwealth Bank weighing on the index and blood products and vaccines giant CSL providing some lift. The ASX 200 index has risen by 10.1 points. Short time ago, the Australian dollar was trading at 79 US cents and 87.35 Japanese yen.
Following a season dogged by injury, Glenorchy says it now has the playing list to go deep into September. But young blood could topple the Pies at the first hurdle, with Launceston doing all in its power to take pressure off its young players. It's set to be an intriguing contest between the Pies and the Blues, two teams which have fluctuated in form all season. But Sam Lonergan is sticking to his what will be mantra, as most of his charges taste TSL finals for the first time.
I think as long as we don't put too much pressure on the players and just let them, play freely, express how they want to be and how they want to play in their own ways.
The fresh perspective will be tested against Glenorchy's September specialists. Aaron Cornelius finally has an injury-free side, but after enjoying the double chance the past 2 years, the do-or-die pressure is unfamiliar.
They have had a bit of trouble with speed this year, so hopefully that's something we can bring on the weekend.
Blues big guns Sonny Whiting and Rulla Kelly Mansell are likely to receive attention, but a dedicated tag seems unlikely.
It's an interesting one. Tag's sort of fading out of the game slowly with rotations and how that works, but I mean, it could be an option, but again, are they going to tag one of our players? We don't know.
The Blues whipped Glenorchy to the tune of 70 points in round 9 before the Pies enjoyed vengeance with a 1-goal win in round 18.
We've got nothing to lose and we're sitting in 5th and it's exciting for us, so exciting teams can be dangerous.
The bounce is 1 o'clock at Blunston Arena tomorrow. To soccer, and the League Cup semi-finals are on this weekend. Key striker Jacob Sklenar is out for Olympia in a massive blow to the side's chances against Glenorchy Knights. The two sides last met in the Lacko Seljack Cup final, but Olympia coach Kenny Weston is putting his faith in a younger lineup.
Gives them a massive incentive to try and continue to be part of the squad for the future.
In the other games, South Hobart hosts Northern Rangers.
They've given us 3 good games this year, so hopefully we can keep the run going though and get over the top.
South Hobart has won its last 16 games in a row. Tasmanian boat Export Roo is in the lead at the SB20 World Championships in the UK, with 1 night of sailing left to go. Skippered by Hobart's Michael Cooper, Export Roo is closely followed by teams from France and the UK. 3 races are scheduled for tonight.
Good evening, and as Legacy Week continues, the Air Force, Army and Navy cadets, along with all the other volunteers, will be manning the stalls again tomorrow. If you missed them today, please support Legacy. Hobart 15 degrees today, Launceston 14 and Devonport a top of 12. 16 the maximum at Strawn, Lyawini the low with -8. And with the high over us, no rain today. King and Flinders Islands reach 15 degrees, Friendly Beaches and Campania 14, Low Head, St Helens and Bushy Park 13, and Lyawini improved by 16 degrees during the day to max out at 8. There is a band of cloud heading our way, also with Victoria and coastal South Australia on its radar. Not much else to see apart from the patchy cloud over northern New South Wales and a thin band or 2 over Western Australia. Low-level cloud over the north today, higher cloud streaming above. Tomorrow, a cold front over the Bight extends a trough over Western Australia and the high sits over eastern areas. North to northwesterly winds reaching 30 knots over the west and at 10 to 15 knots inland. A strong wind warning for western waters between Low Rocky Point and Sandy Cape. Into the weekend we go, with rain on the way later in the day for Hobart, a top of 18, 16 for Medina, early fog, a shower later for Oatlands, a top of 14. Launceston, showers increasing, 16 the top, 15 for Devonport and just 10 for Lyawini. For Burnie, showers increasing, 15 the maximum, 17 the high for Strawn, with wet weather also for Marrawar and 15 degrees. And in the east, a shower or 2, St Helens 17, Swansea 18 and 17 degrees at Orford. On Sunday, showery and windy with a chance of thunderstorms over the west, snow to the 800 metre mark. Showers extending statewide on Monday, snow lowering to 300 metres, and the showers continue into Tuesday as well, progressing across the state from the northwest. A shower in Perth, Adelaide and Melbourne tomorrow, but sunny weather for Sydney, Brisbane, Darwin and Alice Springs. And the current conditions, cloudy, 11 degrees in Hobart, in Launceston right now at 7 and Devonport currently 8 degrees. Don't forget to pick up your Legacy badge, pen or pin tomorrow, or one of these great bears, Joe.
Beautiful little bear. Thank you very much for that, Murph. That's all from the news team for now. Have a great evening. We'll see you a bit later with updates. Bye-bye.